Hello viewers, once again one of my collection of cameras I was luckily given by a camera club member. This is the famous Mamiya twin lens reflex. This one's dated 1984 and it's the C220. The twin lens reflex has one lens above here and the view from this goes up into the viewfinder up here, and the bottom lens, the view goes straight to the film. The beauty of the Mamiya was it was the only one with interchangeable lenses. The Rolleiflexes, if you wanted a different focal length lens, you had to buy a whole new camera. For this one you can take the lens off. I was very lucky with this. It's got the famous blue dot lens. This is a little blue dot on the shutter setter here. That is a black lens as opposed to the chrome lens, and it's very sharp indeed. It's very usable at full aperture. When you set the shutter, you pull down the lever here and then you can release the shutter by either using a cable release, or if you haven't wound it on properly you can just fire it off here as a test, and the shutter goes nicely with that action like that. A very good action. You change the shutter speeds by turning the little ring here. So there we are, that's on half a second now. I'll let you see how it goes on half a second. Beautiful sound. There's a 3mm coaxial flash socket here into which you plug your flash leads. I've used it with Mecha Blitz and other small flashes. There's a device on the side here where you can have single or multiple exposures on your film. That is marked single. If we turn it to here, now you can take multiple exposures on the same frame. So when you load it, you must have it on single shot, otherwise you can easily make mistakes. In the window here is a frame counter which counts from 1 to 12. In this little window there's a mark 120, or you can change it to 220 film. I have used both. 220 and 120 is usable with this camera. With 220 you get 24 shots. The viewfinder opens up like this, and there's the view into the viewfinder, and you can focus it with a bellows focusing here, and it goes a long way out, so that with the lenses you can focus fairly closely. Now if you want to calculate the exposure for your extinction, on the side here there is a little help with calculating your exposure with whichever lens you've got. So if you have your 80mm lens and it's racked out, here we are, this is 80mm, and it's racked out and it says 2 there, you give it twice the exposure to accommodate for the bellows extinction, as I've shown you on my video when I did equipment for close-up photography. These are the lines. They're very difficult to understand. In the instruction book it tells you they're colour coded for different lenses, and it gives you a sort of distances away that you are. I can't quite understand that one, I must admit. It's very, very difficult to understand. So if it's interchangeable lenses, how do you change the lens? Well, on this side there's a knob marked lock. The lens is now locked into place. If you want to take the lens off, you rack it back fully, you turn this to unlock, and then you can change your lens. Put that cover on, you press a spring here, bing, and out comes the lens. Now you would say it's going to let light through to the film, but it doesn't. because underneath there is a little black baffle and it stops the light getting through to the lens. You pop in your new lens. This is a 135 f4.5 C-core set. Very good lens. They're also the blue dot type. That is a long focal length lens. There's the blue dot again. It's got the same shutter action, same aperture setting. Beautiful shutter setting here. There we are, that's lovely. Now, looking into the viewfinder, if you're going to take pictures at a close range, you've got to allow for parallax problems, because one lens is not in line with the taking lens. There's a little line on the viewfinder here. If you're taking, say, with the standard lens, and you're about 1.5 times away for the exposure, you use that one, and if you're double the exposure with it right out, you line up the top of your subject with a line engraved here. It's not easy to show, I'm afraid, but it does seem to aid your composition. There's also a little red signal in there which tells you if you've wound on or you haven't wound on. Now we'll show you some film loading and see what you can do with the film loading. The instructions are that you have to do it all gently, turn this in the direction of an arrow, and then the back will come open when you press the release catch here. You pull out the spool side here, you put in your 120 film here until it latches, you pull it over, you slip it into the spool here, the take-up side here. You see, make certain, because it's not easy doing it while videoing at the same time. And there, you've got to get that into there. Press with your fingers to take up the slack of the backing paper. Then you wind on until the arrows are opposite a little red dot there. Then you close the back gently. Oh, first of all, you must make certain, if you've got 120 film loaded, the red dot here is opposite 120 and not opposite 220. Otherwise, all your pictures will be out of focus, because 220 film doesn't have a backing paper. So you turn the pressure plate until the one you want is opposite. Now we turned it, it doesn't turn back to 120. Oh dear, what have we done here? And here we are, that's it. Then you gently press with both fingers, don't press with one finger, it tells you in the instructions, press with both fingers, and you turn that to lock it. Now you wind on until the film stops winding and number 1 is in the frame counter, and then you are ready to start photographing. Now I've got some pictures I've taken with this camera. We'll see if we can show you some quickly. There's some taken on my very first roll of film. It's a snow scene on some, neopan. That was down the road near where I live. It's on the standard lens because I didn't have the long lens then. This is London, and I was lucky enough to get a little aircraft flying to Heathrow Airport, the London Eye, and the what you call Sphinx on Cleopatra's Needle. I've done 20 by 16 print of that, and I got an award at my camera club. Here's the London Eye. When you look at the detail on this with a standard lens, you can count all the struts, and this was with an orange filter held over. Here is the Royal Air Force Memorial on the London Embankment with an orange filter, an out-of-date Kodak T-Max 100 film. All the detail here is beautifully sharp. 20-inch by 16-inch print of this also got me an award. Now we went to the London Eye. This is on very old paper. This was only a test. But I found it's amazingly sharp because this is through the glass. And I couldn't believe it, the sharpness. With the standard 80mm lens through glass of the London Eye. All the detail of the bridge here is resolved. Absolutely amazing. Well, I thoroughly enjoy that Mamiya, and I can show some more if you look at the link on my Flickr page I will give you. Well, that was a quick little lesson on the Mamiya C220. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.